The big question about Ferrari and Carlos Sainz right now is what is going on with strategy. Of course, we've had reliability issues left and right with Carlos Sainz. Every single race, it seems like it's up in questions of what's going to happen with Carlos Sainz's car. He's had almost a DNF every other race, it seems like. His MGUK to turbocharger blowing up in Austria to most recently now in France. Two different things happened. He started from the back, of course, on the hard tire because of the engine that he had to replace, or the turbocharger. So to say, he started in the back with Kevin Magnussen, made his way up on the hard tire, pit for the medium tire, and with 15 laps in the race, when he was literally faster than Sergio Perez and George Russell, he was battling with them on that medium tire, and his team calls him in to the pits with 15 laps to go, which he does. That puts him in ninth place, and he fights back to gain a few more positions, but not enough to where he actually was. Now, of course, the question is, well, are those medium tires going to last 30-something laps at France in the extreme heat? Probably not. But so the strategy call, it's iffy. Maybe you should have just ran it because you never know what could have happened. He had the podium. They took the podium away for him to pit when he really didn't need to pit. But did he need to pit? That was, of course, the question. And then we had the situation where the team released him unsafely from the pit lane, and he got a 5-second penalty. The team, his engineer, then said he had a 5-second stop and go, and during the race when Carlos Sainz is going through all the corners at 300 kph, he has to correct his team and say, no, it's not a 5-second stop and go penalty, it's a 5-second penalty that I can either have at the end of the race or apply at a stop, which they did apply to the stop, but maybe they should have just kept running the race. And it was all over the place for Ferrari. Now, Carlos Sainz defended Ferrari's strategy by saying the team is doing a very good job on strategy this year. I still believe at Ferrari where we are super criticized for things other teams might be going through. Now, I think he's kind of just saying that to keep the head up. You know, we see this with Lewis Hamilton all the time, where if he always says the tires are gone and Bono has to keep them up. We see this everywhere. But I think it kind of ends where Sainz is correcting his own engineer about a penalty. Like, there's something going on with Ferrari. Of course, they're just having a terrible year in terms of strategy, as they do every year. They're having a terrible year in reliability, and it's just not helping someone like Charles Leclerc and, of course, Carlos Sainz, who is racing very good this year. You have to think he's probably the third best driver. I think he would have definitely have more points than Perez right now. He already almost has more points. He would actually probably be pretty close if everything was normal on Ferrari. Like I said, there's probably only a 20-point gap between Verstappen and Leclerc, and then there's probably only maybe a 10 or 15-point gap between Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. So Ferrari have definitely kind of blown this, and we'll have to see how this keeps going, especially in the second half of the season now. But what are your thoughts on the Sainz and the strategy that we saw this weekend in France?